I got an eviction notice that next month.
Nigga Chanel back in the store if you want it. I gave him the drill, they set it up, I got him on it. I bought a new bag, I had the one, so I two-toned them. Taking these drugs, I'm gonna be up in
A few weeks ago, I got online and told everybody how I quit my work from home job. And I know that there were so many questions, positive opinions, negative opinions, but for the majority, I did see a lot of people talk about how their mental health has been at risk and they were wanting to quit their job, but you know, most people financially are not in a position to do so. But let me talk about something for a minute. Now, this is not the first time that I have quit a job. So honestly, it's just like, it was just normal to me. But I decided to put it out there because my normality is not, you know, somebody else's. And also, you know, some people might be thinking about doing certain things, but not knowing which route to take and things like that. So let me first start off by saying, now, I've been working since I was, 15, 16, but I've always had some type of hustle since 10, I believe. Yeah, that's when I started making CDs in middle school because I never liked asking for money. I hated asking my parents for anything because, not the fact that I didn't like asking, but I never wanted to hear no. So I was like, okay, if I don't ask, then I can't be told no. Even to this day, like I kind of sort of ask for things, but it's still hard for me to ask for things because I have adapted that mentality young, because I never like to be told no. And also there has been times where I've asked for certain things and they've been thrown up in my face. Now I'm not saying like my parents or anything like that, but there has been situations like that I dealt with that I, you know, rather not have to deal with if I'm being honest. But 2018, I moved to Texas. And I had pretty much always kept a job up until 2018. 2018, I moved to Texas without a job. And I was not scared at all. Like, I think I came here with maybe like 3,000 I had saved, nothing too crazy. And the job market was completely different from what it is now. It was super easy to get a job, so I wasn't really worried. I'll start a job, they'll do or say something that I don't like, and I just leave. Like, the first job I came up here with, they told me a different pay rate, and then the day before it started, they emailed me a whole nother pay rate. I didn't even go because, no, what we not finna do is play with my pay already, so I never showed up. And honestly, because of that, I can't even, it was through a temp service, and that was in 2018, and because of that, I can't get any job through that temp agency ever again because I did a no-call, no-show first. But it is what it is, consequence of my actions, right? Also, it was like FedEx, UPS, jobs like that I ended up getting hired on it. I went to the first day, baby. It was hot. It was the middle of summer. I wasn't used to that. I never showed back up after orientation. It was too hot. We did a walkthrough on the first day to see, like, you know, where we'll be working, things we'll be doing. It was overnight and it was still hot out there. And I was like, you know what? Not for me. And I also took on a job to where I was working at a Federal Reserve Bank the same year. Of course, I want to say I had maybe like 12 jobs that year, not even exaggerating. I worked at the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas through a temp agency, and the job was actually pretty cool. But it was, I don't want to really say strict because a lot of jobs are, but being that it was through a temp agency, I never had a set hours. Like initially I was guaranteed 40 hours, but then I would get my schedule one week and I only have one day. And I'm like, I might as well not show up. And but I didn't just not show up to that job. I ended up taking a part-time job when I was working at Walmart distribution center. And that was only a 3-day, it was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but it was 12-hour shifts. I only worked there for like 3 weekends. I couldn't do it. You only got it was 2 20-minute breaks for 12-hour shifts. And you have to take your break in the building because it takes 10 minutes to get outside of the building. So it was pointless. But so I quit that job effective immediately. It was a Saturday, I believe, and I walked up to the HR desk. I was like, who do I need to let know that I'm not coming back? And I told him, and I never went back, quit that job. And as far as the Federal Reserve Bank, I ended up getting a job. Let me see. I ended up getting a job at a call center. And I worked that job for like 8 or 9 months. It was at Teladoc, and I guess I can say the name because baby, they wasn't gonna hire me back anyway. But I worked that job for like 8 or 9 months, and that was the job that led me to self-employment, like for real. Like I went to that job. It was cool at first. Like I enjoyed it. It wasn't really bad. Like, yeah, you did have bad members that are calling in, snapping on you, whatever. But for the most part, I knew how to de-escalate and all of that. Like it wasn't really, whatever. But my mental health had got so bad to the point where when I come in, every time I would hear a ding in my ear, like from a call popping up, mentally I just wanted to scream. I wanted to, like, it was so overwhelming. And it was like that for me for like 2 months. The last 2 months that I worked there, I left early. Like, they offer early release almost every day. I took early release almost every day. My shift started at 6. Well, no, yeah, it was 6. And I was gone by 8 or 9 every single day. My checks were, I barely had to check like every time payday came because I used to always leave early. And I kind of knew that I wasn't going to be there too much longer, but I did try to do like a FMLA leave or something pertaining to my mental health. But I had to see a doctor first, and it was like a couple months before I was able to even go to a doctor to get an appointment. And mentally, I couldn't take it no longer. So one Saturday, I went into work. And I told my supervisor, I was like, I'm getting ready, I'm just about to leave. Because I had already been telling him, like, the things that I've been dealing with. And he, you know, he tried his best to accommodate me. Like, it had been times where he would put me into coaching just so I can get my mental together. And I greatly appreciate him to this day for that. I don't think he works for the company anymore, but I definitely appreciate the fact that he would do that for me, because that probably kept me there a little bit longer than I actually would have stayed. So, shout out to him for that. And so yeah, one day I waited till he came in on that Saturday. I want to say his shift was like at 8 o'clock. So he got there, I said maybe 30 minutes later. I told him, I was like, look, I'm about to go. I can't take it anymore. He was like, are you sure? And so, you know, but I ended up sending the email, and I was like effective immediately. And I left. I was a little bit emotional, but not really. It was kind of like a relief. I went and got me something to eat afterwards, went home, took a little nap, and got up and started doing deliveries. I was doing Uber Eats, DoorDash, and that was before the pandemic. So it was it was good. It was cool. Like, I was having to learn the market. So when I did quit, I wasn't really making that much, but I had to learn the markets. And baby, there were so many weeks where I was making anywhere from $1,000 to $1,800 a week delivering food. That's why, like, a lot of times people try to shame like delivery drivers. I was just quiet because I never talked about my income. I think I did one video on it, but I stopped talking about my income online because there are people who know me would ask me for money and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I love helping people. I genuinely do, but I'm not the type of person that's going to give somebody something who don't even want to get out and get it for themselves. Like, I remember somebody asked me for some money, and I was like, I don't have it right now, which if I say I don't have it, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't have it. Either it's not in my budget, or it could be in a different account, or some of my money I put in the savings account to where I can't even touch it that day for myself if I wanted to. So I'm not gonna, you know. And somebody was like, okay, well, I guess I just get out and do deliveries. And in my mind, I'm like, why wasn't that your first thought anyway? Why ask me for it anyway? The same way that I was getting my money, you can do it the same way. So yeah, I really stopped talking about my income then, because it was kind of hard for me to tell people, oh, I ain't got it. But now I don't mind. I ain't got it. Nope, sorry. So yeah, I was doing that. And the first, I say, because I quit around July. The rest of the whole year was kind of hard because, again, I was still learning the market, and also I was getting caught up on my bills because, remember, I told y'all I was leaving work early almost every single day. So I was having to catch back up. I got an eviction notice that next month. I ended up getting the money. I think my mama had helped me or whatever. But I ended up getting an eviction notice, and I didn't know how they worked here. Like, I thought they sent me the 3-day notice. It was a notice to vacate, so it wasn't technically an eviction, but I thought it was because I've never dealt with nothing like that in my life. But my mama ended up helping with the money. I gave some back. But I was like, okay, I never want to put myself in that position anymore. So I was working 7 days a week a lot of times. And I finally got the market down packed, baby. I was out working from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. No, not 11 p.m. 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Like, I was working more than 12 hours a day just delivering. Like, the orders was so constant back to back. I never wanted to stop. Like, I'll go, okay, let me go get me an energy drink, keep going. Let me go to Starbucks, keep going. I had my whole little routine down packed. And for one, that's why a lot of miles in my car now. But I don't regret it because, baby, that delivering has put so much money in my pocket. And the best part about it, when I was not mentally okay, I was able to stop, get myself together, and then go back out and do whatever. And it's kind of hard to do that with a job because if I'm not myself, like, it's not too many times a job gonna let you, take a day, or it's not too many times, especially if you're just getting started with a job too. And also, I ain't had no PTO with really any job I ever had. I would take it, baby. Taking my PTO. I ain't never been a type that had I got a week of PTO. Nope, because as soon as I get a day, I'm taking it. So yeah, I did that for a while. Like it was cool. I don't really have a regret, but the only thing I do wish that I would have done differently then, I wasn't really used to making the amount of money that I was making. Because again, I'm telling you, I went from a 2-week paycheck of maybe $1,200 to making more than it in 1 week. So I was like buying things I wanted. I was giving people money. I was helping people. I ended up getting a bigger apartment. It's a lot that I did do, and it's a lot that I didn't do. So I don't completely regret it. I did save a little bit, but I didn't really get heavy on saving until a couple years after that. I was like, my mind was just like, oh, I'm making this money. Why did I think I had to spend it like that? I did, but you live and you learn. And so, at one point, I was like, okay, let me try the medical carrier thing, because I had been seeing it online a little bit, but it wasn't really talked about as heavily as it's talked about now. So I ended up tapping into that, which still, I was an independent contractor, but they seen my work ethic and they wanted me to do like a guaranteed time frame, to where it was like a contract basically. They offered me a minimum amount. Like obviously I could make more than that, but it was a minimum amount. So even if it wasn't no deliveries that day, I still got paid for that entire day. It was like $200 a day roughly, at minimum. Now there was some days I made $300 a day or whatever doing it. But my car started being very unreliable, and I didn't want to have this contract and then keep on like, oh, I got car issues, whatever. And that's where saving comes along. Now, I did have money, a little bit of money saved, but I think I should have, while I was making all that money, I should have saved up for a second vehicle. But I wasn't thinking that I was going to be doing it that long, because initially I was like, I'm gonna invest in my business, my clothing brand, which I still have it, but it's really not my main focus at the time. So I'm not even doing anything with it right now. But at the time, it was my clothing brand and my lipsticks and my lip glosses, which I actually was selling those a little bit throughout the time I was doing deliveries. But I was so focused on delivering that I pushed my business to the back. And that's one thing that I lost sight of the initial plan, if that makes sense. Like my initial goal doing delivery was to be able to invest in my business. Like I was wearing my clothing brand, I was wearing my lipsticks, but I wasn't really promoting like the way that I intended on doing. I just got so focused on this delivery money that I was like, my business. So yeah, that's one thing I would have done differently. But so I want to say around 2023 is when I actually got another job, which it was a part-time. It was part-time and it was overnight, and that's when I was working at Amazon. And baby, I hated the warehouse that they did have me at. I hated it. The people were like, it was a lot. I'm not even going to say too much about it, but I lasted there maybe 2 months because again, it was seasonal. But I didn't go a lot of nights. Like I sat in the car just crying, and more so, not even the fact that I thought that I couldn't quit, because I knew I could, but without saying a whole lot, I had people, I want to say a person, but I did have people in my ear trying to make me seem as if I wasn't trying to do anything with my life. Like I feel like getting that job was like one of a setback to me. It really was. And even after that, I ended up going to get another job, which I worked at QC for a year. It was part-time as well. And baby, I wasn't making nothing there. And I was there just because people made me feel like that I wasn't doing anything. Like, and I hate that I allowed people to get in my head to make me feel like that, because I feel like things would probably look a little bit differently now had I continued with my own personal plan. But it was just hard. Like when you have people in your ear belittling you, making you feel like you're not doing nothing, and oh, well, why would you do this? Calling you stupid, calling you out. But it was rough. And thankfully, that's a closed and burned chapter in my life. But so I kind of had to readjust my plan. Like even now, and I told you how I quit my job, call center job recently. I started that job in April and I quit it like a couple weeks ago. It is now October, so maybe the first week of October I think I quit. I don't even remember right now. But and I did get another part-time job. I only work 3 days a week. However, this is seasonal and I will not be applying for anything else. And the reason I say that is because I have talked to God so many times about what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And I've gotten so much confirmation, and I feel like I keep going to get jobs because I feel like that's what people are telling me to do or what I should do. Now, granted, this situation is a little bit different because of the reason why I feel like I need it, like paperwork wise. But aside from that, I don't like, it's very, very, very temporary. And I kind of feel like God putting things on hold for me until I'm fully listening, fully letting him, fully trusting him. I'm gonna say that because again, I've already prayed to God about what I'm supposed to be doing, asking God to show me. And he has shown me over multiple times. And I keep asking for signs. Every time I ask for them, I get them. But I do what I want to do. And this is not really how it's supposed to go. So I take full accountability for that. So honestly, even though this job's supposed to last to probably like January, I don't foresee myself lasting that much longer, because again, that ain't really what me and God talked about. It ain't what God showed me. And I have to do what I know that I'm meant to do. And before I make any big decision in life, I definitely go to God and ask questions like, okay, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Please show me a sign. Please let me know. Like, and every single decision that I do make like that when it comes down to my life, my career, things like that, he showed me. Like this time last year, I was working a part-time, well, no, it wasn't part-time, it was full-time, but I was asking God, like, let me know what I'm supposed to be doing. And every single time I'm like, show me a sign. Brand deal, sales, flooded sales on websites, like all of that. And I'm like, you're making enough money but you still doing what you want to do. So yeah, that is my problem. And I feel like when you ask God for something and he shows you what you're asking for, until you fully trust him, fully do what it is that he's telling you to do, I feel like certain things are going to be at a standstill. And I kind of feel like that a little bit now. Like, granted, things are moving for me, but I feel like that would be better if I was to fully move on what it is that I went to God about. Because there are certain things that I am working on accomplishing that I have not accomplished yet. And again, I feel like me being disobedient. And I'm glad I did come out here with this video, because I have a lot of reflecting to do, even after me just saying this out loud. But that is pretty much my story as to why that I have quit jobs. More so mental health reasons for the last, recently. And even when I quit the job in 2018, was it 2018 or 2019? It was 2019. The call center job, the first one that I quit. That was the first call center job, and then the most recent one was the second one that I quit. And both of them was due to mental health reasons. And y'all, I've never had a job to make me cry. I'm not that type of I'm emotional when it comes down to people that I love. But jobs making me cry? Yeah, no. Like, I remember just recently being on a call with a customer. They being all rude and snapping, and I had to put them on hold to cry. I've never in my life done that. I've never cried while actively working, like, ever. And I said I refuse to let that be my reality. And that was around the sign. I want to say I quit maybe the next week. I was like, you know what? I can't do this any longer. I can't let a job have this much control over me. And mentally, like, I'm not going to say I'm mentally unstable, because I do have more stability when it comes down to my mental than I used to. Because, again, if you know me, I used to be suicidal. But now I don't have like suicidal thoughts or anything now. I have other thoughts, but I try to be I don't know what word I'm trying to use, but I try to replace those thoughts with more positive thoughts. Or if I feel myself going too deep into them, I'll get out and do something, like, which is one reason why I'll probably always do a little bit of delivery, or if I'm not, I'll get out and do something, get out the house. But that is, like, I still get out and do deliveries for the money, but me getting out is one of the best benefits of it, because me sitting in this house all day, it puts me in a bad mental state. Like, I don't mind being at home sometimes, but when I'm like fully just at home and I leave the house, nothing, it kills my mental. It does, especially if you don't have like a whole lot of human interaction. Like, granted, I do have some, so I'm not gonna say I don't have any human interaction, but when you don't have it like constantly, like every single day, well, I'm not gonna say every single day, but pretty frequently, I feel like my mental is at best when I'm like not completely by myself 24/7. So yeah, that's partially why, like, I get out and go deliver, because like, okay, let me go out and get some fresh air, go out and be around some people, speak to some people, make some people day. Because I'm like, a lot of times when I do these deliveries, I'm big on customer service. Even though people might think it's just DoorDash, just Uber Eats, like, a lot of the older people that you deliver for, they appreciate this so much. And when I say it makes my day, because I try to treat people the way I want to be treated when it comes down to doing deliveries, things like that. Like, hey, I don't have this, would you like this to be replaced? Or I'll check things thoroughly, making sure that it's the best quality produce, meat, things like that. I'm that type of person, and I treat like my business, anything like that, the same way. But that is pretty much my story when it comes down to me quitting jobs and some of the things that I have gone through and dealt with and continue to just push through. But if y'all have any other questions, if you feel like this story resonates with you, drop it in the comments, let me know. I kind of enjoy talking about this aspect of life when it comes down to quitting jobs and things like that. But thank y'all for tuning in, and make sure y'all are subscribed if you are watching this video and you see that you ain't subscribed.